that one was super cool. But yeah, so I like to have just like bullet points just for like certain things that we absolutely want to talk about with the business. But yeah, it's funny how we're so like, as humans, we're so different.
Yeah, everybody's different. That's why I say everybody's different.
And that's why it makes it cool to sit down and talk, because I'm like, you do this, I do it this way. And
that's what makes us who we are. Yeah. You know? That's what makes us unique. That's why I tell everybody the sun shines bright on everyone, because you know, especially we live in a small town, everybody knows everybody. And then some people feel entitled to some people, and we're like, no, they're free to go with whoever they want. And maybe like, you know, no offense, but like, for example, when I used to sell cars at a Tascadero Ford, people were like, oh, you're a girl, you know, I want a guy to help me.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'll be like, great. I'm like, what are you guys looking for? And then so I kind of learned how to do like overcome little objections. Like they'll look at you and I'm like, great, what are you guys looking for? And they're like, and then I'll be like, car, van, SUV. So then they're obligated to answer me. Like, oh, we're looking for a truck. Oh, it's a single door, extended cab or a single cab. And they're like, extended cab. And then kind of, it's like an icebreaker. But right away, people are like, oh, I'm just looking.
And you're like...
Or like, oh, you probably don't know anything about cars. I'm like, actually, I do, you know? And then in reality, nobody really wants to know what's under the hood. Like, how many horsepower? No. People are just... They fall in love with the car and they're like, oh, we'll buy this car.
Yeah. Or they kind of know what they're coming
they already
for.
Know.
They already know in their head. It's funny because I've actually just had this conversation with a couple people, and it was typically it doesn't happen where, you know, women just get put on the side. But when I was with my business partner, a lot of times the conversations were totally different. Like with me, it was like fighting me, and then my partner will come in,
like, oh,
and it's like easy.
Yeah.
And so I found that not everyone, but a few people would rather do business with men, and I've never seen it so much or felt it as much since I've like just went on my own and started just doing real estate by myself. Where I'm like, oh, like this is a little bit harder because I don't have the like good cop,
it's kind of like
cop.
and it's kind of like mom and dad.
Yeah.
Le vas a la mamá, and the mom's like, oh, I don't know, ask your dad. And then the dad will be like, cool. And then the mom's like, no, I said no, you know, or whatever, vice versa. So you always kind of want that.
Yeah. So that's where I'm like, wow, I can't believe it. I'm like, I need a man to be my partner. No, I don't, but you know. But I definitely have to toughen up a little bit more on my own, just because like I want my point to get across, and I'm a woman, and I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between selling and being a closer. So closer is the one that kind of like puts, you know, kind of what you said. I need to put my foot down and just kind of state facts and then just tell them what it is. But a salesperson, you know, you're just going to sell whatever they want.
Yeah.
And so there's a difference between a closer and a salesperson, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know why. Closer. Right, but I just like don't understand why you'd respect a man no more. You know, it's like it should be mutual respect.
Right.
But however, I've gotten really lucky with like clients who are like, I trust you, and then we, you know, I know we can get it done. So it doesn't always happen, but just a couple times that I realized, oh, okay, like you rather talk to a man.
Right. And I didn't think there was a lot of prejudice here either until I physically witnessed it myself. A client accidentally sent me a message that was supposed to be sent to somebody else, and they're like, oh, this Elizabeth Gutierrez, you know, is gonna be showing us a house. Your mom's pissed. She does not want to buy. She doesn't want a Mexican or Hispanic person helping us out. She will not buy from a Hispanic person. And I was like, I got taken off. I was like, wait, what? And so I called him immediately, and I was like, hey, is there a problem? And then he's like, oh, no, disregard the message, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't for you. Obviously, it wasn't for me. Yeah. It's been read already. The damage has been done.
Oh, man. Right. Rather than just like... That's crazy.
But I didn't take any offense. You know, I don't take offense of that. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I'm here to provide a service, and, you know.
I think that... that's what they mean. You have to have tough skin in this business. And I didn't quite understand it until later, right? And I'm like, oh, that's what they mean. Like the comments that are made, the fact that, you know, they rather speak to a man versus a woman, or they like starting out and being a new agent. Right. Like all these, or somebody choosing somebody else.
And not just with the clients, but your peers también.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a learning experience, but just kind of brush it off, move on, you do you. And
yeah, I think that it worked out for me just because I was a bartender for like 6 years, and you just learn to have tough skin anyways. Like people just come and they just want to be rude, or and then you realize like you just kind of stop caring. You're like, yeah, whatever, we'll figure it out, or you can make those comments. I know that's not true.
Right.
And so that's helped me a lot with having tough skin. So I'm like, that's what they mean.
Yep.
Or
that's
when
exactly
you like somebody cancels an escrow and I'm like, oh, there we go. Okay, there we go.
It's an emotion. That's what we should have done. Kleenex. Emotion.
Oh, that would have been a good one. But yeah, Elizabeth, thank you for being on my podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah. Would you give us a little quick introduction?
Sure. My name is Elizabeth Gutierrez. I'm your local. Actually, let's start lower because mira que mis greñas estaban sticking out.
It's raw, like you say.
No, starting all over.
This is it. We're starting over. Okay. Elizabeth, will you please give us an intro? Now I'm messing up. Will you please give us a quick... And now we're messing up again.
Hablando del rey de Roma no se va a morir pronto. Okay, anyways, back to...
This turned out great. Elizabeth, will you please give us the intro? Okay, ready? Let's take a second here. You look great. Okay, there we go. Elizabeth, will you please give us an introduction?
Yes, thank you, Valeria, for inviting me to your podcast. It's an honor. My name is Elizabeth Gutierrez. I'm your local real estate agent here in the Central Coast. I help people buy and sell their houses or invest in real estate.
Yeah, so we chatted quite a few times, but you said you started in the lending world.
Yes, I did.
Tell us how you started your real estate career, which starts there.
Actually, it started, I guess I manifested, when I was little. I always wanted to do real estate, and I didn't really know the whole concept of real estate. I would just see like pretty houses and I wanted to go check them out and sell them and help people out. But that was like a long time ago. And then I was actually selling cars, believe it or not, at a Tascadero Ford. And I became a loan officer by faith, because there was a guy named Furman Vasquez that he passed away already. Descansa en paz. But he came into the dealership pretending to buy a truck. So I tried to sell him. I tried to overcome every objection I could on an F-150. And then right when we were negotiating like payment and everything, he was like, "Oh, I want to test drive a Tundra, Toyota Tundra." And we did not have a Tundra on the lot. So therefore, I tried to convince him to take our F-150 to a Toyota dealership in San Luis and maybe test drive a Toyota over there. But apparently I had to go to work. 3 days later, I kind of follow up because we did get a Toyota Tundra on the lot. And so I was like calling him up and saying, "Hey, Furman, I just wanted to follow up to see if you had the opportunity to test drive that Tundra. If you haven't, guess what? We have one on our lot. I would love for you guys to come in and test drive it." He's like, "Absolutely, I'll be right there." So he shows up. We test drive the Tundra. Apparently he fell in love with it. I thought I was getting a sale, So I go into the office and I tell him what his payment is, down payment, all that stuff, all those goodies. And he literally sits back and then pulls out a business card and he's all like slides it over to me and says, "Hey, honestly, I'm not here to buy a car. I'm here to offer you a job." And in that moment, I was like, "Am I on candid camera or something?" Because, I was like,
joke?
Yeah. And then, I was kind of hesitant at first. I was like, this sounds too good to be true. And he said to give him an opportunity, that he had heard nothing but great things about me. So he wanted to actually see how I worked. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to know how I did business. And he said that he liked the fact that, I took the time to understand his needs and wants. And I followed up. and therefore he wanted somebody like me. So I was at first hesitant. Again, I thought I was in candid camera. I thought this was a prank or a joke or something, but no, actually, it was for real. And I became a loan officer. I did really good my first few months, and I loved it. I loved it, and I did it for a while, and then that was back like in 2003, and then I ended up leaving the lending side of it because I was a single mom with 2 beautiful daughters. The market was a little bit tougher, and I wanted something more consistent, and so I got out of the business thinking, I'll come back whenever I want to come back. And I went to go manage a helicopter company, Del Rio Aviation, and then a body shop, which was Precision Collision. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I ended up getting into the lending side. But I loved it.
Yeah. And then
they went looking for me. That's how I did it.
I feel like, so that one and also becoming a realtor was fate too. It wasn't like your
like everything. Honestly, I believe in God, and I think everything happens for a reason. I know that he never forsakens me, and everything that goes in my life, I think it's based on faith, Yeah,
I think that if you're a genuinely good person, I think God shows that love through these.
Right. And it's all about timing. The same, timing is everything. You can be prepared, but if the opportunity is not there, then there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And then if you are prepared and the opportunity comes in, then, that's faith.
Yeah. I look back and I'm always on a time frame. I'm like, oh, I should have bought my house at this age. You know how we're like, I want my house at this age. I want my career at this age. But now looking back, I'm like, if real estate would have came earlier than when I started, I wasn't prepared. Right. I wouldn't have been able to do it or even handling my
people
house.
Have different mentalities and then different things that are going on in your life. So timing is everything.
Yeah, like this podcast, I probably wouldn't have been able to start it 2 years ago just because I was scared. Right. And now I feel more my confidence, and confidence is like key.
Yeah,
it really is key. Yeah. So then after you got out of lending, how did you start real estate?
So, like I said, I went to go manage the helicopter company. I was there for a while, which I loved. And then I went to go manage a body shop. But the body shop, unfortunately, was going to sell to a corporation. Mm-hmm. So that's when I realized, hey, I bought myself a ring, and I made a promise to myself saying that I was going to get back into lending. Because that was what I used to do, lending. So I was going to get my real estate license. Back in the day, you can get your real estate license and you can choose to do either or both, Apparently, this time around, I didn't do my research. I just went and took my test. And, of course, I passed. And I got my real estate license on Christmas Day of 2018. And then I just started fresh January 1st, 2019. But it was like, surprise, you're a realtor now. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, I've never been a realtor. I don't know what to do. Even though I was a lender and I knew some of the forms, like the RPA and stuff like that, I didn't really know the process of showing the properties and this and that and all that stuff. So it was kind of new to me. And so, I became a realtor by default, not by choice. But honestly, it's been the biggest blessing in disguise. And this is why I'm telling you, everything is just, sometimes we say, oh, I want to do this. And because honestly, I was in October, I was like, okay, I'm going to quit this job right here because they sold to a corporation. And I'm going to start fresh on the beginning of the year. I'm going to spend the holidays with my family, and I'm going to be a loan officer. And God has different plans, No, you're going to be a realtor.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's been the biggest blessing in disguise. I became top producer right away. I represented women in real estate with the Women Council Realtors. I became the vice president and president. And and here I am.
Yeah.
Still grinding.
Nothing ever goes as planned.
No, nothing.
Never.
And especially in our business, every transaction is unique. I tell everybody, do not compare yourself to fulanito, sutanito, or whatever, because everybody is different. Everybody. You're always learning something from every single transaction. Mm-hmm. So when you have like a smooth transaction that goes in like perfect, be grateful for it because there's always hiccups. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few hiccups and then you just kind of go through, go with the motion. But yeah, you're right. Like, don't ever compare yourself, and then don't be scared because somebody else told them their horror story. Doesn't mean that yours is going to go that way.
Exactly. Yeah. And just like a transaction will be perfectly fine. Like say my experience went smoothly, doesn't mean that your transaction is going to be smoothly. Maybe you have 5 different jobs, or maybe you just started a new job, or all of a sudden you bought a new car. I mean, there's so many different things that can do that.
I think that, and I always tell my clients this, the best way or the smoothest transactions are the ones that everyone's willing to win. We all want everybody to win. It's not like we want the seller or the buyer to win. It's like all in general.
Right.
And even though we run into these hiccups, if everyone's willing to fix the problem and continue to move forward, like, we're gonna get it close.
Right.
But we just all have to be willing to do that, and we all have to understand.
To be working together.
We all work together. It's not like if you have the buyer and I have the seller, like, we're not gonna come into conflict. Like, let's figure it out all together. How we know the seller wants to sell, and we know the buyer wants this house. So those are the smoothest for me. Even if we run into hiccups, we're like, we'll figure it out. It's okay.
And like I was telling you, when I was little, and I used to say that I was going to be selling houses, I didn't know what the word realtor was at that time. But also, I bought my first house when I was 18 here in Paso, in Oak Meadows, which is a cool little neighborhood. I love my house, actually. But I also had a bad experience personally with the realtor that was helping me. And I think, this is why I'm telling you that it's faith, that like your experiences eventually help you to become a better person or be different. And you don't want other people to go through the same experience that you went through. So we were trying to buy a house, when I was 18, and I reached out to an agent that was promoting, like in the Hispanic community in the radio. I'm not gonna say names or anything like that, but and I was excited about it. I was like, I'm going to reach out to her, because she's saying that she can help us out. So the lender got us approved for a certain amount of money. And back in the day, you saw properties in the little booklets, those little libritos, There was no internet. There was no Zillow or Realtor.com.
In the news, right, where you go and you pick it up in the little box.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So it's kind of like the auto. There was a Trade Express and no sé qué tanto, like for cars. They had some for realtors. Or you reach out to your realtor, and then the realtor gives you a list, right? So this agent told me that I only qualified for this house and this house. And it didn't make sense to me, because supposedly we qualify for a certain amount. And I think this is very important too, because I keep telling everybody, like, if you qualify for a certain amount, you qualify up to that amount. Now, obviously, if it's a condo or if it's a manufactured home that's on a permanent foundation, it changes the program. But in that moment, I didn't know, right? But all I knew is that supposedly you only qualify for this house and this house. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't understand. So I kept asking, and then I'll be like, what about this house in the book? She's like, oh, no, that one's sold already. But then the following month, that same house will still be active, supposedly, in the book. So I was like, that doesn't make sense. So finally I asked the lender. The lender was like, you know what? Keep asking questions. That's what she told me. Keep asking questions, Mm-hmm. And I kept asking questions. And finally one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call in that house, because that house kept calling my name, right? So I reached out. It was an agent from Remax, and she was like, oh yeah, absolutely. That house is still available. And then you're like, wait, what? Not only that, but she gave me a list of like 25 properties. And then I was like, wait, what? And back in the day, I know you're young, but back in the day, realtors used to drive you around to go look at properties. Now because of liability and whatnot, now everybody kind of just meets at the property or follows you and whatnot. But she's like, hey, I'll take you guys, driving around, blah, blah, blah. And she ended up helping us. This property that we ended up buying in Oak Meadows had like, I kid you not, like 15 offers. But because of our situation, we wrote a letter and all this stuff. I know nowadays you can't do love letters unless the seller wants to accept love letters. But, this person gave us the opportunity to be first time home buyers. I think, he saw that we were young and, give us the opportunity. But that kind of opened up my eyes too. And I was like, I want to be able to help people and actually give them the right information, because there's a lot of people out there that generally want to help. And then there's other people that don't want to help. They just want easy deals. Or nowadays, as a realtor, I realize it was because she was a listing agent. So she wanted to get the buyer and the seller. Nowadays, as a realtor, you have better knowledge, but our consumers, our clients, they don't know what's going on, what we do, or who's representing what.
You were trusting her.
You trust. We're the experts.
Yeah.
So if you're a realtor, I trust you. I trust that you have the good interest in me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to portray to my clients. And I give them all the information that I can. Ultimately, it's their decision. And that's what we do. We provide a service.
Yes.
So anyways, I think faith brought me back to be here so that I can help those, that want to buy a house or invest in real estate, but don't have the knowledge.
There you go. And like those kinds of stories is what kind of puts a bad name on realtors, because they're like, oh no, you guys are just doing it for the money, commission. Right. And that's like, that's how we pay our bills, but it be genuinely, some of us generally just want what you want.
This is our job.
Yeah,
this is our career actually, because we're self-employed. People think that's another misconception, that we just we're like selling sunsets and we're balling and we have all this money and all this stuff. But in reality, the average client, we spend a lot of time with them, showing property, our gas, our time, our energy, everything, right? But we chose to do that. Yeah. This is I love what I do, but at the same time, it is my career. This is my livelihood. Of course, everybody wants to get paid because we have to provide for our family and for our friends. For me and my family and my animals now, But at the end of the day, you want to do something that makes you happy. And sometimes, people get jobs where it's just a routine, and it's okay. But we're self-employed, so we have to. We make our own schedule. Yeah, we make our own schedule. Also, if we don't work, we don't. Yeah, we don't get paid. Money. Yeah, that's the other thing. People think that, we're balling or whatever. But if we don't close an escrow, we don't get paid, and we don't get paid until escrow closes. So I can be working with the client for a year or two and not get paid in a year or two. And if we go into a contract and it doesn't happen, because nothing's for sure until it's done. Yeah, I always tell everybody. Yeah, and it's not a big deal. Like, okay, we find out the house foundation issue, and it's like, let's pull out. Like, you're right, this is really expensive, and it's not a huge deal. But we are ultimately a business, and as any business owner, or whatever you do, we always want to upgrade. We always want to know more, like get our education. Obviously. And so that we have to invest the money that we also receive from this escrows. So it's just a business. If everybody looks at it, or anybody looking to get a realtor, it's like we running a business and we're trying to do it professional, and we want to keep our good faith. Right. Yeah. So you said you became top producer right away. And for us realtors listening, like what helped you do that? Honestly, just getting out there and letting people know what you do, because nobody wants a ghost agent, right? Like, you can get your real estate license, but if you're not out there letting people know what you do, then nobody's going to know what you do. So honestly, what helped me was that I created a post on both Facebook and Instagram, and I said, hey, I just started a new career. I put my picture, obviously, my my goddaughter doll me up, and my friend, he took some pictures and whatnot, and we posted them. And I just kind of let everybody know, like, hey, I'm starting a new career. I'm really excited. I would love, the opportunity to help anybody and everyone. If you know anybody that's interested in buying or selling. And believe it or not, just that one post, all of a sudden I had all these people that, that love and respect you, that want to support you. And they'll be like, hey, you know what? My neighbor, oh, can you help me? I had a client. So when I used to do lending, circumstances were different, and, they couldn't qualify at that time. But I told them, that's another thing that I always tell my clients, don't lose your faith, Lo último que se perder la esperanza, like, if it doesn't work right now, let's find out why not. Do we need more debt, more income? Do we need to pay off some of that debt? Does the credit score need to go up? What is it that we need to, help you get to where you need to be at? Because honestly, everybody qualifies. Everybody qualifies. But maybe they only qualify for 100,000 or 300,000, and there's really nothing in this area for that price range. But the fact that you tell them that they qualify, it kind of brightens up their light bulb, like, oh yes, I qualified. So they'll work harder to get there. And she will tell me every time she will see me, she's like, one day you're going to help me buy my house. You're going to help me buy my house. But I got out of that business, right? And so when I posted that and I said, hey, I'm back, but now I'm a realtor, she reached out to me right away. And honestly, they were the first ones that I closed. And not only them, but then other friends and family. And your sphere of influence is very, very, very important, especially if you're a brand new agent. Grassroots, I tell them. And even up to this day, I do grassroots every single day. Open houses, door knocking, flyers, events, participate, get involved in the community, and just let everybody and their mamas know that you sell real estate, And that's how you get your business. There's a lot of people that come into the business and try to invest so much money in leads and advertisement and stuff like that. And it just kind of will drain you right away, because money, these leads are not cheap, and advertisement is not cheap. And so I would say to any new agent, start with your grassroots sphere of influence. Tell your friends, family, and everybody that you know.
Yeah, I started like that, got a little impatient, went to Zillow, and I paid.
Be patient.
Yes, be patient. Like, it'll come. I was very fortunate too that there's people that love you.
Right.
And so as soon as I got my real estate license, they were like, I want to use you. Same thing, right? But then there's slow times, and that's kind of when we get a little bit panicky.
Right.
And so I'm like, I'm going to try Zillow. And I tried it, and I met super cool clients. I really did. I actually got 2 closings out of Zillow, and they're amazing. However, I did spend a lot of money, and my thought was I could have spent all this money on my spheres, like taking them out to coffee, like showing my appreciation for the people that I actually know.
Right.
And also, I'm like at the gym and I get this call. And then, or I'm this and I'm getting a call, or I'll do like Sunday showings all day. And then all of a sudden they were just in town wanting to look at a house. And so I got really bitter. And so now I don't do things in my business that make me bitter. Like, I'm patient and the sale will come. Like, I'll get more sales, but not that way. I'm not going to start hating my job.
And right now you said you were impatient or whatever. That's another key in this business, because like we were talking about escrows, they can take 30 to 45 days, just the escrow itself. But the whole process, it can take like 3 months to 2 years or longer, depending on the circumstances or the scenarios. But if you have to be very, very, very patient in this business, and learn to manage your time and money. And that's very, very hard for a lot of people, especially if they've never done commission or sales in the past. It can be, I saw it on a daily basis when I used to sell cars, because I was in commission there too. And if you didn't sell a car in one day, a lot of the times people were like, oh my gosh, freak out. And then they would just quit. but you can not sell a car for a week and then all of a sudden sell 3 cars and you make it. But it's patient. You know, they always say you're always 6 feet away from gold, you know, so never give up unless this business is not for you, because this business is not for everybody. But even then, I always tell everybody, when people ask me, I want to get my real estate license. Great. You should do it. Try it. Because you never know if you're going to be good at it or not unless you try it.
Yeah.
So consistency is key. Patience is key. And
You have to have faith. Always be yourself.
And be yourself.
For sure. Because that comes out too. Yes. And then you can't just put up a persona and then not break from it.
Right. Exactly.
You know, those people that are like super cool and all of a sudden you're like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were cool.
Yeah.
But how to have faith is for sure, because a lot of now I'm not like that anymore, but yeah, you could have 3 escrows at one. You were like super slow for 3 months. All of a sudden, you're like, I'm so busy right now. So appreciate those slow moments, because eventually
appreciate the slow moments, because actually those slow moments is the opportunity for you to start, you know, getting they say put every client in your calendar, because, you know, once you put it in the calendar, it's a commitment. So the more people you talk to on a daily basis, the more opportunities that will eventually come up. I always say, every time that you talk to somebody or you see somebody in the grocery store or the gas station, my kids are always like, oh my gosh, Mom, again. But they're like, you talk to everybody. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I talk to everybody, because you never know if they're going to need of my services eventually. You always have to be top of mind. Like, hey, I need a realtor. Like the other day, thank you, Dustin, shout out. But the other day somebody asked, who's your realtor? And Dustin is like, realtor Elizabeth Gutierrez, top of mind. Like, if you're constantly top of mind, they're going to you're the first one that's going to come up. Even if I don't need the services, but like Miguel comes in and it's like, hey, Elizabeth, do you know a realtor? Yep, Val. Or the neighbor is like, hey, do you know a realtor? Val. Yeah. You know, so always be top of mind. Yeah,
and that's probably what I enjoy most about our job is the people that we come across with. Yeah, and we get to work. Like, we get to chat, and I'm like, you're actually really cool. And
and I'm a social butterfly. I talk to everybody and anybody.
Yeah. So in this job, like genuinely being or having a conversation is key. Because we can't fake that. Like, we can't just be like, oh yeah, you know? Like,
exactly.
Yeah. So this is a favorite part about the job. Our job is like, I just fall in love with my clients.
Yeah. And they become like family. Like, I love all my clients, you know?
Yeah.
They're constantly inviting me to their carne asada, their weddings, their baptisms, you know, like, I love it. I love it. And then touches, you know, like following up. I mean, I know that sometimes, you know, you think you close escrow already and it's like over. But I always tell my clients, hey, if you get anything in the mail, just take a picture. I'll tell you if it's spam or if it's legit. Even throughout the process, I mean, it's been like 2 years, 3 years, and then they'll reach out to me and they'll be like, hey, do you know of a termite guy, or do you know of a inspector or something? And then, you know, the fact that you're still top of mind, that's super important.
Yeah. The other day I got a call from my previous client, and she was like, I need help with my water heater. And I'm like, yeah, no, let me call somebody for you. And then that made me so happy. Yeah. I'm like, oh. She's like, thank you. You're like my granddaughter that I never had. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, I love all my clients.
Yeah. So far, I haven't had any bad experience with like somebody who just hates me and doesn't want to talk to me.
I know. I mean, knock on wood, yo tampoco, but yeah, and I even have return clients where they come back and buy another house or sell their house and buy another house. So that right there is really rewarding to me, because that makes me feel like, you know, I actually did something.
They're happy. Yeah. The good thing, one key I think that we should think about is like knowing yourself, which will go a long way, because if you ever do get an unhappy client, if you know yourself well and you know that you put in the work and you like, you know it in your heart that you did the best that you could. Your worth. Yeah, then you're like, okay, there's not saying there's something wrong with him, but like just you have that peace of mind, like, you know what? We just weren't meant to work together, but I did try my best.
Right. And it happens to the best of us, you know, where, you always want, you're a people pleaser. I'm a people pleaser. So when somebody feels like, hey, something didn't work out, or they say something, I don't take offense of it. Actually it's a learning experience, because we're not all perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I think I talked about this before on Instagram or even on Facebook. There's like a separate folder if you're not following them or something like that. I didn't know for the longest time. Now I'm like super aware of it, so I check it. But at the beginning, apparently I had all these messages and people were like, oh, you never replied back to me. And I was like, what do you mean? When? What? And then I feel really bad. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you feel super bad and you're trying to make it up. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, it was an honest mistake. I generally did not know that there was this other folder. It tells you to approve, I didn't know about the Facebook until, somebody else mentioned it, but the Instagram I found out because they kept telling me. So I was like, what? I don't see any messages. And then they ended up telling me like, oh, you have to scroll that way. And then you'll see general, important, and then whatever, the spam or something. Requests, I think it was.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Requests. So if I'm not following them, I don't get to see it. Or if they have a private account, the same thing because I do giveaways all the time too. And people are like, yeah, I shared it on my story, but I couldn't see it because they're private. So, I mean, there's a lot of things. It's a learning experience for all of us, but you always want to make sure that you provide a good service. And like you said, know your worth. As long as you know that you gave it your all, then you shouldn't feel bad. But, we're human and we still feel like, oh my gosh, like, what could have I done better?
Yeah.
Another thing, I don't know if this happens to you, but, I'm constantly on my phone and people are calling in or calling out or sending messages. So if you call and it goes straight to voice message, sometimes those calls don't get registered. So when people tell you, oh, I called you, and you're like, when? And there's no registration of that call. I think that's another important key factor that I set that expectation up front. So I tell my client, I'm like, hey, if for whatever reason I don't answer you, or if it goes straight to voice message, make sure you send me a text message or leave me a voicemail so I know for a fact that you called. Because otherwise you won't know.
Yeah.
The calls kind of like, somehow get lost in where I'm calling you, you're calling me, but your call's not registering on mine, my call's not registering on you.
Or sometimes you're like out of service. Yeah. Because we show property, like you say, you work in nowhere. Monterey County sometimes too. Yeah. So it's like sometimes there's no reception at all. Right. And we're out doing showings.
Or California Valley, or even up at the lake. Oh, I'm up at the lake, and sometimes I can't even get reception up there, depending on what section you're in.
Or sometimes you're just with the client all day. It's like, I can't right now. I'll get back to you. But I do have that a lot, especially because my text messages and my phone calls go through my laptop. And sometimes I have my laptop open and I'll like step away. And so I don't get to see the text messages too. And then I'll reply back in like a day later. And I'm like, I'm so sorry I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, but I think if you set that expectation up front, then they know. Yeah. Like, oh, she'll call me back. Oh, she'll get back to me. Yeah. It's the unknown. It's kind of like what scares both us and the clients, So if the clients don't hear from you for a couple of days and they're like, oh my gosh, my escrow is falling apart. Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. But even then, it's important to just call them and say, hey, there's no update. And then it kind of just eases the situation. Okay. Yeah. And the same thing with us, like, oh my gosh, my clients are not calling me. They're not answering me. But maybe they are calling me, but the calls are not getting registered. Yeah. So it's like, it's the unknown always freaks everybody out.
Yeah, right. Because there is periods in their escrow where there's nothing going on. Like we've already done this disclosures and now we're just waiting for the next.
All inspections, everything's done. Yeah. We're just waiting for final approval.
Yeah. So sometimes there's nothing. I know a lot of times I'm always like, how are you feeling? Are you doing okay? Yeah. Are you doing the process? We still don't have anything yet, but are you okay? And I'm like, they probably think I'm crazy.
No, and actually I'm sure they appreciate it more because it's better to just give them a call and find out how they're doing, how their day is going than nothing.
Yeah. Because also I don't think some people realize, but like the lending lending side, we actually don't really know what conversations they're having with the lender.
Right.
So a lot of times I'm like, how's everything? Because that's probably one of the most stressful parts of purchasing your home is the lending side, because there's all these stuff that are sent to you.
Right.
And sometimes they're like, oh, you actually owe a car payment from like 20 years ago. And you're like, what? that comes up.
Yeah, everything comes up.
Yeah. And so then I hear about it after, and they're like, yeah, Val, we had to pay like 10 grand for this. I'm like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah. I because I used to be a lender, I'm always like on top of it. Like, I'm like, hey, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Any conditions? You know, what's the LTV? What's the CLTV? What's the DTI? And everybody's like, when I try to talk those words with another realtor, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? But because I've been on the lending side of it, I already know. So I'm always like, okay, what about their debt to income ratio? What about, did they have any car payments? Like, I'm already pre-qualifying them before they even go actually to the lender. But it's important to have that communication with the lender as well, and with your clients, because that way everybody's on the same page.
Yes. It's pretty cool that you were a lender, because I'm sure you know it's pretty awesome. You know more, right? And the more you know, the better.
But everything's changing constantly, so you always have to be top of mind. You know, like how I was telling you, education, continuing education, forms are constantly changing. I just went to the CAR last week, and there were some changes on the buyer broker agreement. There's changes that are going to be happening to the RPA in June. So there's a lot of things, you know, that are constantly changing, and it's very important for us, you know, to learn on a daily basis as well, to be top of mind and give our clients the right information.
Yeah, I know these forms.
Yeah.
Are you the same? Like, not a control freak, but like I want to know everything, like how the lending's going, how the escrow, like how the escrow is going, and it drives me nuts when the lender doesn't contact me. Are you the same? Or?
Yes. So. Yes.
I think our local lenders are great. Local lenders, I have not had bad experiences, but like I probably shouldn't say this, but I have a deal going on right now, and the lender reaches out to my client constantly, but like the appraisal came back and I received it from my client, not from the lender, and I'm like, wait, what?
Right. So most of the time, just FYI, the appraiser automatically goes to the buyer first, and then the buyer usually either tells you, or the lender usually tells you. Most of my lenders always constantly call me right away and like, hey, appraisal was met, or hey, appraisal came in higher, or appraisal came in lower. Because if it came in lower, then we have to renegotiate the terms and the price. If it came in higher, great. Yeah. Appraisal was met. That's it. Yeah. You know, I don't need to be telling, hey, Mr. Seller, I need to give you another $15,000 more.
No, they don't even have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But some lenders, I mean, I've been in the business for a long time. I used to be a lender where I controlled everything. My escrow, I opened appraisal, order appraisal, open escrow, and everything. Nowadays, you can't order the appraisal. The lenders are not allowed to. Physically, the bank has to send them, and they send them to a system, and then the system kind of does like a rotation because of conflict of interest. So back in the day, there was, you know, a relationship. They're like, hey, can you know, hook me up with the price? So they stopped all that. A lot of the lenders, you know, depending on, you know, who they are. That's why I always tell the agents, have that relationship with your lender, because reach out to the lender, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes, okay, because this has happened to me plenty of times, the lender gives us the information, and we relay that information to the listing agent, but the listing agent doesn't like what I'm telling them. So therefore, they're saying, oh, you're not giving me the information. No, we're giving you the information, but we're not giving you the information that you want. So, you know, communication is key. You know, unfortunately, not everybody likes the communication that is given at that time. Like, if there's no appraisal, they freaked out. They're like, why is there no appraisal? You know, we have no control over it, you know?
Yeah.
There's things that happen because not every transaction is perfect. There's issues where maybe appraisal came in and it wasn't what the seller wanted. So then they want to get another appraisal. It's going to prolong escrow. It's going to be another week or two. Maybe they want to battle the appraised value and they have to provide comps and you have to submit it to like rebuttal. And that's a process. And then once that process is end, if it still remains the same and the seller's not happy, they're more than welcome to get another appraisal. But who's going to pay for it? Is the seller going to pay for it? Because my clients ain't going to be paying for it.
Because it's like $900.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's also, that is why we have to know what's going on, because that is our job.
Right.
We're the problem solvers.
Yeah, we're the problem solvers. Again, it just depends on the circumstances, because sometimes people don't like to hear certain things. But that doesn't mean that we're not communicating.
Yeah, and it's okay. We're going to figure it out as long as we know what's happening. Like, I didn't even know. I'm like, is the appraisal ordered? I had no idea that I was waiting. I'm like, has it been ordered?
The other thing is, that's a great thing that you said, has the appraisal been ordered? So the appraisal cannot be ordered unless all disclosures are being signed by the buyer. So the lender sends disclosures to the buyer. So everybody has their own disclosures. Yeah. You have your own disclosures. I have my own disclosures. The lender has their own disclosures. It's a lot of paperwork.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of paperwork.
And it could get lost.
Yeah. And the clients get overwhelmed. They're like, well, didn't I just sign that?
Yeah. What am I signing?
It's the exact same thing, but with different header where it says, LPT, or it says Remax, or it says whatever, or the lender. But once those disclosures are done, then they can order appraisal. And not only that, but the client has to pay for it up front. Yeah. Some lenders are willing to pay it for them up front and then they just take it out of closing costs. But I would say 99% of the time, the buyer is the one taking care of the appraisal. So if the buyer hasn't paid for the appraiser, then that can also delay the order of the appraisal.
Yeah. But if they let us know, hey, Val, it hasn't been paid for, will you let your client know?
Yes.
I love that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's, because we're the point of contact for the most part. I mean, they all contact the client, but I'm always like, because they trust us more than anything. So it's like, hey, you got to pay this, or we're just waiting on you to sign these documents. Did
you sign the email that they send you or whatever?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, communication is key.
It is key. And then there's other things, just because I was on the lending side of it. So sometimes when the file goes into underwriting, it takes, 48 to 72 hours or whatever, depending on if the underwriter is in-house or not. I mean, it could be right away. Some lenders can do in-house underwriting and they can know the response right away, or the file is super clean and it gets done fast. But sometimes when there's conditions and they're asking for certain things, you have to put it back in line and it's another 48 to 72 hours. So it's a waiting period. And a lot of the realtors don't understand, like, hey, there's a time frame. It can be 2 to 3 days or 1 to 2 days. But they call the next day, hey, any update, and there is no update yet. And then they're like, well, what's going on? We're just waiting, there is waiting periods, but communication is just key.
Yeah, we just have to know what's going on. Yeah. We really do, just because if there's an issue, we have to,
jump on it right away.
We do, because everything's timing with our job. So,
contingencies, everything has a time period.
We do have a time frame, and we want to, be able to close on time, right? Because then you have also the rate lock, and that could be another issue.
Yeah, that's another issue.
But these are issues that our clients don't really know, right? No, right. But it's just stay communicated with us, and then we'll because
now you're gonna have to pay an extension fee for the rate, or maybe you already gave your 30 days in your apartment, and you have to move out, and the tenant or the landlord is not willing to work with you because they already have somebody already scheduled to move in, and you're like, what's going on? So it's like pressure, or maybe the seller needs to buy on a replacement, property, and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, things get a little complicated. They're little things, but it could affect somebody for sure.
Yeah. And it could be like a domino effect if it doesn't get resolved. The same thing with our forms. If you don't mark a box, it can cost you thousands of dollars, or it can save you thousands of dollars depending on which side you're in.
For sure. I triple check my offers all the time. I'm like, okay, I think I'm good.
Yeah. So when I first started, in the real estate part of it, I printed out the RPA and then I like hand wrote it, and then I just make sure what was important and whatnot. So I use that as my like demo. So every time I did one, I would go back and be like, okay, was I supposed to mark this box or not? Am I supposed to fill in this information or not? So
I still do that.
Yeah.
Like I'll go back and then I'll look, and then actually I always have a second set of eyes. So I'm like, will you review this offer to make sure I did it correctly?
Right.
I still do it.
Right.
Because I'm just like, I'm like, oh, and then I'll check again.
Right. No, I think it's very important for somebody to just kind of look it over and just be like, hey, do you think I missed anything?
Yeah.
Some people have TC, so sometimes they'll be like, hey, ask the TC and be like, hey, can you just double check it and make sure everything's good to go?
Yeah.
They're really good at their job. So
TCs are amazing.
Yeah.
Like they're a huge role.
Oh yeah.
I would never not have a TC in my part.
I think it's important to know your forms, when you're a new agent, but a TC, comes in handy.
It's your second pair of eyes.
Yeah.
We're, like you said, we're humans. We make mistakes, and you have that second person always overlooking to make sure you're right on track and you didn't miss anything.
Right.
You did say though that you had you're part of the association, realtor associations, and a couple more things. What are?
So, yeah, I'm a state director for the Pismo Coast Association of Realtors, and actually it's been pretty exciting. We just went to the CAR meeting last week in Monterey. We were there for a week. It's pretty interesting because you get to see firsthand, any bills that are going to be passing, any changes that are going to be doing, and you're part of it. So if changes need to be done, like you're out there front row, trying to make these changes, obviously for the best interest of our clients and for ourselves, because we want to be protected as well as protecting our clients.
Yeah.
And then I was part of the Women Council Realtors, and I love that too. It was all about, women empowerment and, helping women be in leadership, because, what we were talking about earlier is that there's a lot of men out there in leadership, but not too many women. There's a lot of women working in real estate, but not in the leadership level. So I think it's very important for us to kind of step up and
we can do
we can do
thing.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then I'm also part of the Hispanic Business Association, helping Hispanic businesses here in the community. I've been a part of that for a long time. I've always gotten involved in everything my kids did. I was part of the Almond Acres Charter School board, softball, soccer, AYSO, PRGSL. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I'm pro-life, and I was part of Lifeline for 6 years. I just ended my term, and I started with the Women's and Girls Commissioner of Women's and Girls for the district for San Luis Obispo. So yeah, I'm very involved. I love kids and I give back. I do career days at middle schools. I like to inspire kids to be, anything that they want to do and be business owners, not be a worker, but be a boss.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Especially girls.
Yes.
I'm a mother of 2 beautiful daughters, so I always try to inspire them and I want them to be better than me, obviously.
How old are your kids?
They're old already.
Yeah, but no, that's super.
Now I'm an auntie. Now I have tia. Now I'm a tia. They're like, I love you, tia. I love you too. But yeah, my girls are 19 and 22, so they're already older.
They're not old.
Yeah, they are. They're older and they're doing great. They work for Coast BMW, and they actually have learned from me. They give back to the community. Coast BMW feeds the homeless every Thursday. My daughter's the one in charge of taking care of that, and believe it or not, people don't know that. So every Thursday, they feed the homeless.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, to get involved with the community and give back.
Yeah. And I've always, told, my daughter's always volunteered with me everywhere we went. We always gave back. Toys for Tots, and I do up with kids. I've been doing that years and years and years. Everybody's like, "Oh, you work for Remax?" No, but I've been volunteering, for a long time, and I love doing it. So
I was I did that when I was a kid. Like, I was one of those kids who would go
and get the clothes.
Yeah. And then later I came to find out, like, Remax posted it or put it together. I'm like, oh my God, like, I have to
give back.
Then it gives me motivation to give back. Same with the toys.
Toys for Tots.
Yeah. Like, same thing. I always drop stuff in there because I received that. So that's pretty cool. It just that we can do that. And there's no excuse because we are busy, but we're also able to have give a little bit of our time back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I love giving back. I love being involved in the community. Again, I'm a social butterfly, so I'm always out and about. And then I love what I do. And I think the most rewarding part is when some of my clients, they've gone to other places and they've told them, that they don't qualify, or they get discouraged by their neighbors saying like, oh, unless you have $50,000 down or blah, 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 or you have excellent credit. And honestly, I mean, anybody can buy with a 580 credit score.
Yeah.
There's just so many misconceptions. So that's why I always tell everybody, get informed, ask.
Yeah. I had my tias, they were going through a lender a few years back, and then they said, yeah, we need like X amount of like $50,000 in our bank. And I'm like, what? Like now that I'm a realtor, I'm like, wait, like, why would she say that? She's like, no, you need $50,000 before we start the process. And I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah. Well, crazy. Because a lot of the times people want easy, right? So a perfect deal is putting 20% down. Yeah, but not everybody has 20% down. Yeah. And not only that, but there's a lot of programs with no money down payment assistance. I mean, I can name you a bunch: USDA, CalHFA, CalFHA, GSFA,
Yeah.
And now is the Dream for All. And I mean, there's so many different things that unless you actually try and qualify for those programs, you won't know if you do or not.
Yeah. No, I've closed a deal on a 580 score. And then also on the down payment assist too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, you do not need $50,000. You might need something else. We don't know yet.
Yeah. And it all depends. There might be people that do need to put money down because they have 3 car payments and the car payments are $1,000 each. And you're like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
But I always tell everybody, do not go buy the car. Do not go buy the car until you buy the house. But a lot of the times it's financial literacy that people don't know. They don't teach this in schools where, how to manage your credit score. Getting into debt does not mean that you have excellent credit, because that's another misconception. People thinking, oh, I have excellent credit because I have all these credit cards that are maxed up. And I'm like, that does not mean that you have excellent credit. That just means you're in debt,
Yeah.
And then there's other people that have a couple credit cards and they don't owe anything and they think that they don't have enough credit because they don't have 2 credit scores, but then they end up having a better credit score than the other people.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, everybody's unique. Go find out for yourself and see where you stand.
Yeah, exactly. But don't just like verbally take what they say.
Right.
Like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, on the sidetrack, you mentioned you live on the property. You have 3 acres.
Right.
And this just kind of is on top of my mind because I had a client who initially wanted like a big property. And then we had this conversation where she was like, time is money. And like, I take it back. Essentially, like, I want something that's low maintenance. And that was a really cool conversation because a lot of people that come looking for a house want big yards and property. And so what are your thoughts on that?
So yes, so especially our within the Hispanic community, because in Mexico you have rancho and you have animals and all this stuff,
your chickens,
and chickens and your eggs and all this stuff. But honestly, Mexico and the United States are 2 totally completely separate things. In Mexico, when you buy terrenos over there, it's different than when you buy here. Here you have property taxes, you have insurance. There's more
fire insurance.
Now there's
crazy right now.
Yeah, so insurance was one of the main things that we talked about that CAR meeting because of all the fires that have been going on. So now the premiums have gone up. And then if you live, like for example, in my scenario, I got a letter saying that my insurance was going to get dropped unless I got the California Dream Act or
your fair plan.
The California Fair Plan.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm over here thinking about trying to help clients, trying to help more clients get a loan.
Yeah.
Or a house. The California Fair Plan. So then that's a separate identity, and then you have to apply for that, and then they send an inspector and they come and look at your property, and you can't have debris within a certain radius of your property, or if you have stuff that's outside of a garage or whatever, they make you clear that out, or they won't give you insurance. And it's just been so much stuff. They're also talking about on CAR about zone zero means like from 1 to 5 feet or whatever of debris or grass, that it has to be within a certain radius of your house or your gates. I mean, it's a lot of information. But yes, the majority of our clients always want like, oh, queremos terreno, más yarda, and all this stuff. But it is cost. It is money.
Yeah.
It's another expense. Cutting the grass is another expense. If you don't cut it, you get a fine or penalized or whatever. And if you don't do it, the fire department comes in and does it, and then they charge you for it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, those are things that you need to consider. It is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes you don't get to travel as much because you have to go feed the animals, and who's going to feed them if you're gone. I mean, it's a lot of responsibility. Mm-hmm. So I always tell my clients, is this really is it a want or is it a need?
Yeah.
So I have them write down their wants and needs, what's non-negotiable and what's negotiable. Like, okay, I want a ranch on the beach, but obviously, I mean, one day I will, but is it something that I really need? No, I don't need that. And we're starting to see more and more. It's kind of like a phase, honestly. Mm-hmm. It's a phase because there was a time frame where everybody wanted to buy off Jardine and Geneseo and all that area. Nobody wanted to live in town. And then all of a sudden that phase kind of died out and everybody wanted to be in town. Like, mm-hmm. I wanted to live in town. Low maintenance, no extra expenses, da, da, da. And then a year ago, everybody wanted to go back to Jardine and Geneseo and all that area. And so it's kind of like, I think kind of like going with the flow. Everybody's like, oh, my friend bought 3 acres. I want to buy 3 acres, but not necessarily because they need it. It's mm-hmm. because it was a want.
Yeah, it's kind of knowing where you're at in life. And then we talked about being impatient.
Right.
And it's like, okay, right now you have 2 jobs. Right. And you want to raise a family. And so, you're going to be like 20 minutes out. So it's not like this is your end. Like, this is not forever.
This is why it's important to have those conversations with your clients, because one of them, first of all, how much do you qualify for? Mm-hmm. Are you able to qualify for that much? Some people really want it because they want it, mm-hmm. and they're willing to get a cosigner or whatever to try to make it work, but it's not really what they need, mm-hmm. because now it's costing, like you said, they're 20 minutes out, getting the kids, waking them up earlier mm-hmm. to come to school. It's more gas, more, like now you have a water well, you have a septic. It's not like regular city sewer or city water.
Your bills are essentially higher. But that's like something that you have to keep in mind. Like, if you really, really want it, yes, but just keep in mind that you're going to have higher bills, right. potentially, insurance. And I don't know about you, but also land. Mm-hmm. Land, I think people
have a misconception.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So they're like, because they see that they're less expensive. So they're like, oh, can you help me buy that piece of land? And I can just put a manufactured home there. No. I mean, you could if you're in the middle of nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. Without a foundation, but it doesn't bring any value to it.
Yes.
Now, if you want it to add value to it, you have to go with the county or the city, depending on where you're buying that piece of land. But there's permits. You have to get an engineer. You have to get an architect. You have to, get a perk test. I mean, there's so much in debt that people don't understand. They think it's just, I'm just going to buy a piece of land and I'm just going to
put
something in
it. I think that's the one where I discourage people a lot. And not because I don't want them to have what they want, but it's like I've gotten a lot of like, I bought a piece of property in this end and my realtor did a terrible job, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, was it your realtor or was it the fact that you really wanted it and that's what you went after?
Right.
But
well, sometimes they don't explain that.
Yeah.
You know, so they're like, oh, yeah. And this is another thing that we talked about at the CR meeting, that it's very important for us to, if we don't really know the answer to it, we should just be honest and be like, hey, I don't know. We need to research it, or we need to call the county. You need to reach out to the county and ask them the questions that you want.
Yes.
Because I can call the county for them, but I'm going to ask whatever I think you want to know.
Yeah.
But they might not want to know that. They want to know something else. So it's important for them to do their own research before they commit to something like that.
Yeah. And it's
not that you're discouraging them.
Yeah.
Is that you're providing information. And at the end of the day, it's going to be their decision whether they really want to pursue that or they. And another thing is, what are your plans? Is this long-term or short-term? Because if it's long-term and you're willing to sit on it, that's fine. But if you're going to want to do something right away, I mean, keep in mind, this is going to be out-of-pocket costs. Yeah. This is not going to be something that you can be able to finance, you know, as easy as if you would to get a house.
And you have to wait for your permits, which from what I hear, I don't know if it's true, but like a year and a half out on certain permits.
Yeah, so depending on if it's the city or the county. So some cities are faster than others. Some of them are longer than others. You know, I'm dealing with the scenario in Atascadero. Atascadero has been a long process. You know, we barely got the permits in December. We're on it now, but it's like, even then, the inspector they still have to come, even though you get the permits, every time you do like stage 1, the inspector has to come in and sign off on it. If it's not properly done, then they make you do it until it's done, and then they sign off on it. And then it's a process. Yeah. It's a process.
Like, after we say all the negative things, right, we're like, this is not negative, but like, this is kind of what's going to happen. Right, the information. And you have to wait the information. If they say, yes, I still want it, it's like, okay. But just know that if you decide to make this purchase, you don't actually know how long things are going to take until you go through that process. Like, nobody really knows.
No, nobody really knows. So that's another thing. You can't say, oh, yeah, in 3 months, because it can be 6 months. I mean, we're in it. It's going to be 3 years in June, and we're still not done.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind and be patient. Yeah. And then, yeah. All right. Well, anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
I feel like we could talk all day.
Yeah, we can talk all day. Another thing, actually, I do want to say something. You know how you were talking about for first-time realtors, and I was saying grassroots. Also, you know, make sure that you guys go to a brokerage that's willing to help you guys build that foundation, because if you don't have a backbone support, you know, or if you want to be a part of a team, I encourage that, because you want to learn as much as you can. A lot of the times when new agents come in and they just go with a brokerage that never gives them any information, no support or anything like that, then that's when they get discouraged. And not only is the process of, you know, by the time you get paid and all this stuff, but there's also like motivational stuff that sometimes if you're not a self-motivator or a self, you know, go-getter, it makes it really, really, really hard. And then they get discouraged, and they could have a lot of potential, but if you're not in the right place, it's kind of like, I saw this thing on Instagram where there was this famous violinist, violinista, whatever. And he was playing at the subway in New York. And, you know, people were passing by him, throwing him like a coin here and there. And he was actually a famous violinist that had Madison Square Garden sold out that same night. So the moral of the story is, it's sometimes you can be the right person, but at the wrong place. Yeah. You know? So if you don't have, proximity is everything. I always say proximity is everything. Or you go with your tribe. Obviously, if you have experience, you can go anywhere. But if you're a first timer, I always say go with somebody, like go somewhere where there's
mentors that are willing to help you.
or people that are willing to help you. If you don't have mentors, reach out to other agents and see if they're willing to help you out, even though they're not in the same brokerage. I'm always willing to help people. I mean, I'm not an expert or anything, but I try to give encouragement and not to give up. But that's what I say, like get people that are gonna follow people that how you want to do your business. That's another important thing, because you can be following somebody and they do a business totally different than you, and you're learning those habits from that person, and you're like, I don't like this business, or vice versa. You might follow somebody that you're like inspired by, and so you always want to follow the people that kind of
how you want to run your business.
How you want to yeah, exactly.
And it's okay to do it your way. Like we all do it things differently, and that's okay. That's the point of like not being bitter. Like run your business how you want to run it, and do what you like to do.
Because we're individual business owners. Even though we have our license with a brokerage, we're still. I mean, we can have the license in the same brokerage, but you do your business a certain way and I do my business a certain way. And the sun, like I always say, the sun shines bright on everybody. And people are going to do business with you because they like you and respect you. So just because they know you doesn't mean, and then sometimes don't take offense. Maybe a family member doesn't want to do business with you, and it's not personal. It's just maybe that they don't want you to know their financials, or maybe they don't want you to know their personal stuff, and it's okay. You just wish them good, and there's always a reason why it went that way. And
then, like you said, we have to have faith, and then God knows whatever why.
There's a reason why.
But I do agree. We could be in the same brokerages, and we are independently contracted, but your brokerage does have to do a lot with it, because you can surround yourself with like go-getters, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's like a friendly competition.
It's a friendly competition. Yes.
Okay, like she's killing it, I want to kill it too. Let's do this. And or you join forces and you're like, hey, like you're gonna go door knock, like I'll go door knocking with you. It's encouragement, and you'd be surprised how many people are willing to help you.
And it's building that foundation so that it's kind of like a house. You build the foundation first, and then you build your house.
And also, like, if you're willing to, right, you just have to have that little bit of, not course, what do you call it? Like, guidance. And so I think I've been really fortunate that I started at Parkside, because right away I had that guidance. And so I was willing to work. I was willing to put in the hours. What I didn't know is how or what to focus on. And so then I had all of these, all my coworkers, a lot of my coworkers helped me guide. And also just freely asked if I wanted to jump in the car with them. I guess sometimes I didn't even ask for help. They were like, just kind of knew that I needed that. So it was really cool.
Encouraging. Yeah. And I think that's important, because if you don't have that, then you're like, well, which way do I go? It's kind of like you're on the highway and you don't know which exit to take, because you're all over the place.
It's a lot. It is a lot. It's not like, I don't want to say it's like a difficult job, but
it could be, but
it's harder than I think most people think it is. But it's doable.
That's because of the selling sunsets and the $1 million listing TV shows and all that. Everybody thinks
like they think that's their job, but no, it could get really complicated, and you definitely want to have.
You're over there climbing fences and cleaning the garden and sweeping and this and that, so
I've done some cleaning
painting.
On my own.
Done painting over there.
So it's good to have that team or that support in the back end. But well, thank you.
Thank you.
This was a lovely conversation.
Thanks.
We could probably do part 2 and still talk about lots of things. But
for sure.
All right.
There's so much.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We can follow you on where?
You guys can follow me on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok now. I'm a TikToker now, but I'm not an expert yet, but I'm learning. Realtor, I made it pretty easy. So just Realtor Elizabeth Gutierrez on everything, even my email. Realtor Elizabeth Gutierrez @gmail.com or Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you.